And we're back again.
Oh my God.
This is a live broadcast.
That's what happens.
I know that Greg over here took that opportunity to go rip a couple bong hoots, as someone said on the YouTube channel. Like, I bet you they just went to go smoke some weed.
It'd be a smart idea, but we actually did not move.
Yeah, no, it crashed. If we are ready, we're going to go back to the interview because we were just getting started with it. So let's see if we were all set and ready to go back to Bo. And for him, we have Bo Krasik, Director and President of Believe. How are you doing today?
Not bad. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And we were speaking just before sitting down here that I actually visited Believe for my first time about a month ago or so. We were invited out there and Shane gives a tour. It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't, and it was actually above expectations. Where I looked at some of the cannabis he was growing there, it looked really, really nice.
It's one of those underrated stories we kind of kept quiet, but Shane's a rock star. He's been doing that for such a long time, over 20 years of experience. He's really been able to grow from, in the last 18 months since we got our actual cultivation license, just in terms of yields and, making the atmosphere a lot better inside and the climate controls and the fees that he's using. And, people are quite surprised when they come and see it. Even some of the underground guys from before, I've shown them pictures and they're quite impressed because there's that stigma between what LPs can do and what they can do, and everybody's quite impressed. There's a bit of a talk in BC about him right now. He's getting some notoriety, so super proud to have him. He's one of the original founders. So,
and in that exact point you just said there, actually, I started seeing that sentiment all over my Facebook or my different Twitter feeds, whatever it be, where your connoisseurs, they secretly, or not so secretly, do not want to buy cannabis from LPs because they don't think they can grow. But then some of these LPs are coming out and they have these buds and people are like, wow, this came from LP. It's funny that stigma was there. I didn't really fully realize until after the legalization. That's a huge topic right now.
It absolutely is. I mean, I think everybody learned over some time and period of time that how to actually make, or grow good cannabis. Maybe they've switched their growers, maybe they've changed their techniques. Everybody learned. I think everybody just kind of, head on first and said, we want to be part of this business, we'll figure it out later. Yeah. Some have, some haven't. We've always been there and we're just continuing to improve, right? Yeah. So there's definitely a couple guys out there that know what they're doing and we applaud them for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of improvements, one of the things that Shane was telling me that I'm sure you can elaborate on was each grow they've had over the last months and all this time since you guys have had your cultivation license, you've been increasing your pounds per light quite drastically. He was telling me.
Definitely. So about 18 months ago, he was getting about 1.2 pounds per light to the point where now he's getting 4.2 pounds a light. Yeah. In investor talk and capital markets talk, that's about 720 grams per square foot under canopy per year. Yeah. Right. And he still thinks he can grow that. I didn't believe him a couple of times. I actually had to go and count myself, which you wouldn't see someone like me do that, but I definitely went out there and had to double check, as he said. I was up till 12 o'clock just going over it 4 times. So it's like, these numbers are right. I go like, okay, fair enough.
That's more than double the yield just over tweaking things, working on different aspects. So one of the things that was very evident when we went there, there's a culture. Everyone we came across, whether it be students who are learning how to grow, whether it be Shane himself, or there's another master grower there. I'm alluding his name.
There's a couple guys. There's Charlie, there's Evan, there's... he's going to hate me for it, but it's going to throw my tongue. But I'll mention
it's the interview. It's the interview thing. When you come in the interview, sometimes I know this name, I know it, but no,
I'm just really bad with names. That's I'm known for that. I'm good with numbers. I'm bad with names, but they've Shane learns from them as much as they learn from him. I mean, most of them have come from from Niagara College, right? Yeah. We've partnered up with them. We scoop their best talent, and some of these guys are willing to go to British Columbia for Abbotsford and Chilliwack expansion indoor facility. Some of them really want to stick with the greenhouse, so they're going into our London facility. Yeah. It's we learn from them, they learn from us. Shane really has a great management style with these guys, and I think they respect him and he respects them back, and it helps with that culture. When you come to work and you just actually want to improve every single day. It's not just a job. It's like you said, it's a culture thing for us.
And it was noticeable. It was noticeable when you get in there. I don't just say that lightly. I mean, I've watched a lot of different hospitality companies or corporate companies, whatever it be, and you could tell almost immediately the type of culture that's there, the way that people just walk, the way they talk to one another, the way when you ask them a question about one of the plants, they were so eager to tell you, oh no, I've been working on this for a while. It was nice to see. And I guess that's coming through with this great yield that you guys are getting, but also there's, I mean, I'll watch all the different social medias to see how people are liking certain companies and certain plants. Believe has been getting some good reviews on their cannabis, and it's interesting because it's still early, right? It's so early in this stage that it's fascinating as we're growing.
We don't have a single strain that's going to win out in this industry yet, in the legal industry, right? We've heard of different ones that are very popular, throughout the illicit market or the gray area market, whatever you want to call it, right, before legalization. But I think, it's an even playing ground for everybody. Everybody can market their strains, and at the end of the day, marketing is only a part of it. We learned early on, and that's the part that our growth team says, look, it's about the plant, right? And if you're talking about dry product and just smoking the flower or consuming the flower, you have to know what you're doing. You have to bring that old school culture into this whole new corporate world, right? So it's tough, right? You have a lot of SOPs to follow, right? You Health Canada's breathing over you.
They're very stringent.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
So that was the initial difficulty, just kind of pairing that up with what the requirements are. Once you get past that, then you can just keep rolling into progression, right? And I think that's where we're at, and we'll can't wait to see what they do in our in our expansion facilities. I think they're going to do really well because it's that modular approach that we took from day one, right?
Yeah. And why don't we talk about that for a moment? Because what caught me off guard, actually, to be very honest, was the fact that very soon you guys are growing to, conservatively, you were saying earlier, 150,000 kilograms a year. That's a significant amount of cannabis. That's through 3 locations?
It's 4.
Okay.
It's actually, so the BC locations are split between 2 properties in Chilliwack and Abbotsford. They're going to total about 870,000 square feet of indoor grow. It's going to be the largest in the world for indoor grow. They're all actually, as you saw in our facility, in the Hamilton facility, they're all 2,000 square foot rooms with about 50 lights a pop.
Yeah.
And it's going to be 10 buildings that are just going to be, exactly the same. Our partners are building that out up there. Look, I mean, it's easy to manage. And so that's 2 facilities, and then we have the London facility is going to be just our greenhouse, and it's mostly going to be for extraction because we're doing some really cool stuff with our extract materials. We don't believe that buying a machine extracting oil through carbon-based CO2s or ethanol. We use ethanol, for example. We don't believe that's the final product that people should be consuming. It should be the ease of consumption, right? So our whole motto is, I don't want to change the way you live. I want to change the way you feel. Right, so we're working on some really cool stuff around water solubility. We have it. We haven't shown it yet. We're filing patents around that. We don't know what the end product's going to be. Is it going to be a drink? Is it going to be an edible gummy bear, a Listerine strip, pill? We don't know, right? RIs. So we're working on the precursors. We're going to find out what people are going to like. If we give you something you can put into your drink or your cookies. You can, we'll figure out what people consume it most for, and then we'll say, look, maybe we can make that product, or we can partner with somebody to make that product, right? We don't want to jump into, making a beer, making a Coca-Cola or anything like that. Although those guys are big players and they have a big, marketing branding behind them, we're not going to compete with them. We want to provide them with something that they can use, and we can all make margin along the way. Right?
Exactly, yeah. And behind us as well, they've been going in and out. It's just showing the different plants that you have, a video that your team has put together, just showing the process and some of the handiwork. So we'll let that play in the background as we're going.
That was some of our earlier work. That's one of our rockstar scientists, Peter Chan, who's developed some water soluble products as well. So we're quite excited about it.
Right on topic then.
Right, exactly. And he's actually in France right now, holding a conference on what we're doing. So it's he's speaking at a conference. So it's quite interesting, right?
Nice. And it's like you said, right? And what's interesting though is that these products are allowed in the States, and that's something Canada has to really realize, that we're letting these American companies really start growing, and that's a good thing. Like as an enthusiast for the plant, I love to see that. But in Canada, we're obviously limiting right now. But what we are allowed to do is the research side. We have a lot more ability to do research because it's now legal. So legal for us to be able to work on. So it's nice because it's like you said. Are you going to go out and get a Pepsi or a Coke, some sort of beverage, and try to fight Coke, or are you be like, hey, we've got the primo products for you to be using in your drinks? That's how you're saying you want to be able to, or at least one of the ways you're going to be looking into
One of the ways, right? One of the ways. I mean, we always look at full vertical integration, right? I mean, if you look at it, I want to control everything, just like everybody else at our company does, right? But you can't. right? So you got to figure out how far can you take it, and where the marketing, branding, and manufacturing power of some of these bigger players are, right? I mean, they have distribution. The biggest problem is how will some of these guys actually distribute the product when they don't have a license to do so, right? I understand on the CBD side of things, which is gaining a lot of popularity, but on the psychoactive ingredients, you still have to go through one of the LPs, right? I mean, Pepsi or Coca-Cola can't sell to OCS. We can, right?
Correct,
so how does that partnership work? We don't want to jump into it just yet. I think, this is, I keep saying this word and everybody does. It's a nascent industry. Yes, it is, right? Level playing ground as of October 17th.
Exactly.
Right. So we've done everything we could. We caught up in terms of space and capacity. But then again, that's just the first iteration of what you need to do. It's have enough capacity to support your supply chain. Will we buy off of other people or other countries? Absolutely, we will. I mean, we have over 60 hectares of land being developed in Colombia right now, which we have 51% ownership of. Unfortunately, we can't bring any of that stuff in.
No, exactly.
Right. At this point in time, eventually, all this, if it becomes commoditized, all these big facilities, they may not be profitable. They may all have to go into derivative products, which demand a higher margin. Once you really play with that bioavailability side of things, I can actually give you a lot less from 1 gram of cannabis and make a lot more money off it. But you'll still feel the same effect. So why do you care?
Exactly.
Right. So it has to develop. Right. It's not there yet. But we caught up on the fundamentals. Now we're going after that, big bang in terms of research and development of new products, right? So we're really excited about that one.
No, and all those things are really interesting to hear and appreciate. But sliding a little bit more and change the tone a little bit, something interesting happened a few days ago, a 7-to-1 stock split. What was the basis behind that? And I'm sure of all people, you'd be the one to explain it.
It was something we sort of battled with for a while. Originally, when we structured this company, we figured we have a tight share structure. Fundamentally makes a lot of sense. However, the investor base is mostly retail in this sector at this point in time. We were at a price point where the retail investors did not, find the value in it. Between $1 to $2 stock, and the market cap wasn't big enough for any institutional guys to really get involved, and take a significant position. So we looked at it and we said, hey, why don't we do a split? We don't have enough shares out there. Our volume is, not dried up, but it wasn't as good as some of the other guys, and it's not as enticing. So I think we did a right move. I mean, I think yesterday you saw 17.5 million shares trade hands. We were the leader on the CSE. Today, before I came in here, it was 4 million shares traded, right? So it gives people an opportunity to get in. It gives them an opportunity to trade a little bit more. And I think it attracts a different type of investor that's looking for a bit of a better deal, right?
Yeah. And it's nice, too, because a lot of people, it's funny, when I first started looking into cannabis stocks, everyone's like, oh, over 100 million shares outstanding, like, oh, they're so diluted, they're all this. But then you start realizing it's the ones who have over 100, 200, 300 million.
Absolutely.
They're the ones who have the liquidity. They're the ones who aren't being trapped by these other people. Like, it's a lot harder to take over when there's that many shares outstanding, and it's just, you're able to eat up someone who's looking to sell some position because there's so much volume there. So I'm actually starting to lean towards more companies who have over 200 million shares because I know that I can buy and sell when I want to.
and again, it's my, as a former investment banker, like it's in the capital markets guy, it's that whole mentality. Why have so much dilution? Why have 100 million plus shares outstanding? And that's what we went out with initially. And then we started realizing, like you said, that liquidity, providing liquidity for the investors is key right now. So that's what we went with. It's been successful so far. We hope it will. We have a lot of news to put out there, and guys will pick up on it. There's a lot more share trading hands, right? So
and it's interesting as well because I've been watching Believe over the last month or so as a personal investor because I'm looking at a company that I think you guys are sitting around like 50 million market cap at the time being, which I don't understand. Like it's crazy because you guys are about to get to very shortly. Over 150,000 kilograms. I think it's fully funded. Am I getting that correct?
It's fully funded. It's fully funded either on our own or through some partnerships. Look, when it's all said and done, at wholesale levels of just dry cannabis, we're looking to have about $477 million in revenues per year. And we're not stopping, right? I mean, this is just us saying, hey, we're here as well. Land and land acquisition and properties are not a problem in Canada. We have lots of it. So it took us, less than 6 months to get all this done. We were focused on what you saw back there before. It was just the product, research, innovation, and really honing in the art because we were waiting for this legalization to happen. We know what's going. We know what's coming, right? So
Yeah, and it sounds like you've got a lot of the good pieces put together. I'm really interested to see how trading continues to work on your company, but also as these milestones start coming up, I think you guys are going to catch a few people off guard. So hopefully that's not me, because I actually am just surprised. I'm an investor first.
Right.
I'm looking to get a position personally because I'm seeing the type of aspects I want to see going into legalization, where you want to find a company that's got a lower valuation. They may be undervalued. I'm not a financial advisor, so that's me personally saying it for myself. But just in general, these are the type of elements we're going to look for. I can't wait to have you on again in the future as you're continuing to grow and we're watching this story take shape as we march into legalization or past it now.
Absolutely. Always glad to be here.
All right. Well, appreciate very much for your time, my good man.
Thank you.
Your stock can be found on the CSC under BE.
That's correct.
If those who are looking want to look a little bit further into. Appreciate your time. And we're back.
We're back.
And it worked.
We got through a whole interview.
Yeah, that's one of the things, right? We're doing a live production here. I know we've got some pre-records that are done slightly beforehand, but all of this production is all put in all at the same time. We're breaking down barriers on YouTube, and that was a good interview by Bo.
That was really good.
Yeah.
100%. I was listening to the 7-1 split, and it sounds like it actually will work well for them, and it's doing what they want it to do.
Yeah, well, what's their liquidity right now? We gotta be quick because we need to make up that lost time and go into our next video. But Believe is at 5.7 million shares traded, up 6.67%.
Exactly what they wanted, right? They wanted more shares out there. They wanted more people trading their stock. They wanted more volume.
Yeah,
they're getting it.
They want liquidity. It's plain and simple.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they don't like these companies when they. I don't know where we started. I said, oh, it's got 300 million or 400 million. We're like, oh, that's too much. It's too. Do you know how many times I've owned a company that has like 40 or 50 million, and I go to buy something or sell something, I just can't. Yeah. Because there's no liquidity. And for anybody who doesn't know liquidity, that's just it's just a term for how easily you can buy and sell something, how liquid it is. Yep. And clearly, it wasn't before. They weren't. I remember watching them. It wasn't really moving. Now they got some volume. They got a little bit of stuff, and I can imagine they've got a lot in store. So yeah, that's one that I was looking at personally for my portfolio. And I do not own shares or have any affiliation with them at this time.
I might own some.
Just interest.
Soon.
Oh, soon. You put a soon in there. Well, we're going to jump into this. We need to make up a few minutes here because we had to reboot everything there. We're going to switch over to Danny Brody. Danny Brody, I see that guy everywhere on social media. He does not sleep. That guy works like crazy. And look what he's done with him and his team, of course, have done with T-God. It's a company that everyone's talking about, and as a company, that's what you want. So why don't we talk about it a bit more, and we'll go to that video now. Danny Brody, Vice President in Investor Relations of none other than T-God. How are you doing today?
Doing good, thanks. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you coming on the show. I can only imagine over the last little while you have been busy.
It's been pretty hectic. I don't sleep too often.
Yeah. It's a crazy world, and of all of the cannabis companies, T-God is probably one of the ones in the spotlight the most. You guys are everywhere. Everywhere you go, you mention your name. You've done a very, very good job in that in regards.
Well, we're trying. I mean, we had this big date on November 2nd. Everyone was talking about our privately issued stock coming free trading, and it's been sort of the talk of the town recently that this is a massive liquidity event. Yep. And we're past that now, and people are seeing that isn't the end of the world. So yeah, I imagine there's lots of people talking about it still.
Well, it's interesting, in the days leading up to that, where you saw it getting pushed down, whether it be people selling out of fear or whatever it be, games. We all know the manipulation that happens in this market, especially with cannabis. But it pushed down, I'm trying to think of what the low was, in the 240s or 250s, and then it just launched.
Yeah, I mean, it went the complete opposite direction, which just goes to show you the market always has a mysterious way of working. Yeah. But I mean, we traded up to $10 in September there, and we hit a low of, I think it was 246. Is that what it was? On November 2nd, the open of November 2nd, and then the stock just took off after that. We've traded about 80 million, 90 million shares in 3-4 days, just clearing through all that privately issued stock that came out.
Yeah, and it's currently sitting above $4. Yeah, and it's above all of your financing.
Exactly. Yeah, we're back over $4 now. I think we're trading at $4.10 today. Yeah. But we issued stock privately at 50 cents, $1.15, $1.65. Our IPO is $3.65. So absolutely everybody that has invested in our company has been able to make money, which is a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, that's what you hope for, and that's what you plan for, right?
Exactly.
That you're always, and all those are in the money. It is nice to hear that people who went into private placements took a leap of faith, especially the 50-cent people. They did not know what you were putting together, not to the same extent
they had
what you've been able to do.
They had no idea. They took they took a shot based off what our vision was for the company.
Yeah.
And we've tried to every step of the way through execute on that vision. And as we grow as a company, we just have to keep pushing that forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, why don't we jump into some questions here?
Sure.
Because we had questions both from our chat rooms, but also I saw you did a really good Q&A where you're going over a lot of different elements.
Yeah.
So why don't we just jump into a couple, one of which we already spoke about, the warrants.
Yes.
Where, do you know how many have been burned through roughly, or what's going on in that area?
Well, the 215 warrants to be accelerated in July, those had a free trade date of November 2nd as well. So we brought in, there is 17.1 million that were exercised. So almost 90% of those warrants were exercised, which brought in an additional $38 million for our company.
Very nice, very nice. And that's a lot of firepower to be able to use.
Well, we've now raised $460 million. So we're completely funded for all of our domestic operations. We're fully funded for both Quebec facility, the Quebec facility and the Ancaster facility, and then everything on the international front.
Yep.
So we've gone heavily into Europe. We're in Denmark now. We're in Poland. We're now in Mexico, Jamaica, and this extra $160 million is all going towards international and different M&A initiatives.
Well, that's the buzz right now, and I don't mean to buzz as it's a fad or a fad. It's not, but that's what people are starting to finally realize. Wait a second, the whole reason everyone was so excited about Canadian companies isn't necessarily about what you're able to sell in Canada. That's a big component still, but the massive part is where you're going to be globally, because it's turning. Well, look at the world right now.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
So, I mean, it's all about population demographics for us. But you look at Canada; it's a great place to live, and I'm a huge advocate for what's happening with our system here and legalization. It's incredible. But there's only 38 million people here. So you start looking at Europe, you've got 750 million. You look at South America, you've got 620 million in all of Latin America. So these are populations that are 18, 20 times out of Canada. So if Canada's a good place to start, it's a good place to build the facilities, build the IP, build the infrastructure and the teams, but it's by no means a place to finish. We want to be in every single country that has a legal system available.
Exactly. And when it comes to your different facilities, are you able to give updates on either one of them, or where we are, or how things are developing? Because somebody actually brought up a point that they said, "Oh, TGOT isn't growing right now," but that's not true.
Excuse me. Absolutely not true. It couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, we got our cultivation license in August of 2016. We got our wholesale license after that, about a year after that, in 2017. And we've been growing and breeding at small scale in our current Ancaster facility since then. So the amount of it's taken some time to get everything right, but that's the whole point. We want to use it as a beta test, as sort of a launch facility for once our new projects start coming online. So the next 150,000 comes online in Q1. It's completely on schedule. Q2 is when our massive facility in Valleyfield is coming online. So these are going to be producing, by the end of next year, upwards of 170,000 kilograms run rate. So these are monstrous facilities that are incredibly high technology. And one of the things I should add here is Aurora is still our partner, right? So we've been able to learn an incredible amount from Aurora Sky and apply all of that knowledge to our two facilities that we're building. So it should be pretty exciting going forward. And then my last point is for up-to-date construction videos. Every Tuesday we release new videos on our website. So it's tgod.ca. Last Tuesday we just put a brand new video on both Valleyfield and our Ancaster sites, so you can see for yourself where we're at with construction.
I like that, because as an investor, you want to see the progress as it's happening. You open up that little bit of the can where people are like, "Oh, why isn't it moving faster?" I'm like, "Well, have you ever built anything? Like you screwed up building your bunk bed. Stop telling us how to build a construction, a massive LP."
There's so much that goes into it.
But it's nice to see it, though. It's nice to see your investment dollars going into place. And I think that's why you have the following that you do, because you guys are actually very straightforward. I remember when I first heard about you. I heard about you late. I had just missed the 165 private placement.
Yep.
But I remember looking at the website and seeing everything, and just how upfront everything was with where's the money going, why are we investing money. I remember going to the website and like all my questions were answered there. I'm like, I'm not used to this.
Yeah, I mean that's from day one. We've been a shareholder-owned company. You know, we invested our own money. This is kind of how we envision being treated as shareholders. So everything, you know, we've been in the industry for a while now. So we want to do everything we can to be completely transparent and provide as up-to-date, detailed information as possible. That's why I spent the time to put out that Q&A on Friday and try and address some of these issues, because there's lately there's been a whole lot of misconceptions and you know, frankly, just fake news about us out there. So you know, why not take the time and address a lot of those questions and keep people more up to date? That's what I would want as a shareholder.
Yeah, and it's good that you are, because there's so many different companies that are out there right now who we all get that everyone's busy. We get it. But when you completely turn your back on social media or on what people are doing, like, oh, those are just bashers, or it sucks, because yes, they are just bashers, and half is probably not true, but they have an effect. And you have to address them, which is what you guys are doing here, because it's amazing. I mean, what I do on a daily basis through different chat rooms that we have through our community, and just myself, I'm always reading. Yeah, it's amazing the garbage you find out there. Where like I personally, I remember one time I visited a facility, and they started. We did a video with Matica and down in Quebec, and on Stockhouse they started saying, "Oh, these follow the money guys. They just made up this facility. Those are fake doctors. That's a fake facility. Nothing's real." I'm just thinking to myself, that's how easy it happens.
It's crazy,
and it's a shame when you know companies are putting in the effort, and you know you are on track for certain elements, and yet someone out there probably short, or probably there's always a reason.
Yeah, of course.
And too many companies don't address it, so I appreciate it. Why don't we go through a couple of these questions?
Sure, let's do it.
I printed it here because this is the way I can memorize it a lot better, because it's written in front of me.
Perfect, I love it.
One of the questions, I really like this one actually, because this one spans everywhere. Why was there that huge sell-off throughout? And that's just not TGOD. That's industry-wise.
The whole market.
The whole market.
Well, I mean, every single, and cannabis market is it happens every single time in the cannabis market. I guarantee it. So we have this incredible effect called buy the rumor, sell the news. So, you know, you buy leading up to any sort of big milestone in the cannabis industry, and then sells off afterwards. You look back to April 2017 when the first legislation started coming in for the Cannabis Act. Whole market again came off for months. It didn't. April 2018. It didn't start up again until Constellation made that big investment into Canopy in the middle of August. Again with October 17th, it just, you know, time and time again we have this buy on rumor, sell on news effect in the cannabis market that is just reigns so strong. So yeah, that's the first thing. Second thing, we've run into a whole bunch of different issues with the supply chain. So not only is there no supply available from LPs right now, everyone is also sold out. But you know, I'll use my own experience. I put an order in on the OCS on October 17th, and I got about 6 different emails from them with some sort of reason why I didn't have my product. I just got it. I just got it last night.
Really?
So I mean, I feel like that's probably, what is that, 15, 16 days since legalization. So you have these supply chain issues, and you have a whole bunch of different companies out there that haven't focused on becoming operationally ready. Yeah. So I mean, with us at TGOD, we've purposely, you know, delayed our launch until we can, you know, make sure that we have the right product, make sure that we have consistency, make sure we have everything lined up to make sure people are, and to make sure medical patients and recreational consumers are happy with us. Those are the 2 biggest complaints. So we wanted to work through that. We wanted to make sure we're ready, and to that effect, we're going to be launching in January to our Founders Club, so 200 select medical patients that we're inviting, and then we're going to roll out our strategy basically all throughout next year as we ramp up our production. No,
and it's smart that way as well, because one of the biggest things that I'm seeing in different social media mediums and all that about legalization, the rollout, is that these products went out there, and then within like a day or 2, they couldn't get it anymore. It was either sold out, or like you said, Canada Post may or may not have done that a little strategically to go on partial strike, or rotating strike during this time. But
yeah, that's an issue too.
You want to make sure you unroll it properly, because we're also having issues right now with certain LPs where buds coming in, allegedly, of course, they're moldy and they're not prepared because they were storing or they weren't prepared for it. Rollout is so important. And if it's anything like the way you guys are treating investor relations and information, I can only imagine your rollout is going to have a lot of thought put into it.
Big time. You only get one shot at a launch, right? So we want to make sure we do everything right. And I will add one other thing, because people always ask me if I'm worried about this sell-off. I've thought about this a little bit more, and I would be worried if the demand wasn't there. That's what would worry me. Yeah. But the demand is there. Stores are sold out everywhere. They can't get shipments out on time. There's 4-hour lineups all across the country. So the demand is, I think the demand has exceeded what original expectations were. And I think that's going to grow tremendously as we start seeing more product come available throughout the next, 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, and the demand has been incredible. Yeah. It's been the amount of stores, the amount of LPs, the amount of people who are just completely selling out. Like, everyone knew it was going to happen. We knew there's going to be a supply crunch, and but
100 orders
faster.
100 orders per minute on the OCS.
Is that
on
what
the site?
They're at now?
It's incredible.
Crazy.
So I'd be worried if the demand wasn't there, but the demand is definitely there. And again, that's just Canada, right? This whole international side is going to be massive going forward for all LPs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to keep going through this because you took your time putting these together, and a lot of these I was looking at earlier, and I really did enjoy reading them and seeing the answers. So I want to be able to bring that out for other people. One aspect you actually did already touch up on it, and I think it's an important one actually, was Aurora. Aurora's expiry to purchase more, if I'm getting this correctly, or their option has expired, but you're very much still partnering with them. You're very much still working with them.
Of course. Their option expired. Cam came off our board. Their option expired, and they sold 6.1 million shares, which all sound negative, but when you start breaking these things down, so Cam, he said it himself. He had to recuse himself from board meetings, which is understandable as TGOD's kind of grown up as a company, and we're not necessarily that younger brother anymore. You start looking at reasons why they might have sold some shares. Well, first of all, their investment portfolio was almost $700 million a few months ago, according to their latest presentation. And if you work out the numbers on them owning 60 million shares of TGOD shares and warrants, that worked out to about 55%. So any sort of prudent portfolio manager, if you have one asset or one company in a portfolio that's worth 55%, that only makes sense to take some of the weighting off. That's basic portfolio management. Yeah. And then these other things with the agreement. So they had the option to acquire up to 51% of our company through 4 separate milestone options. One was 8%, one was 3 were 8%, one was 12%. Yeah. So because they said no to the first one at 8%, which would have been bought at a 10% discount to market, the other 4 or the other 3 have expired now. So they no longer have the option to acquire over 51% of our company, which for us has been tremendous. For the reason that when we're talking to different large-scale beverage and CPG companies, if they were to do a deal with us, and basically, say we did a Constellation type deal, and our stock went up, whatever it does, 2 times, 3 times, and then Aurora came in, they could acquire control of our company, and then that company has just done a deal with an unintentional third-party LP. Yep. Right? And then my last point on this is the fact that we would have issued the 8% to them, which would have been about $120, $130 million at a 10% discount to market. So you might recall we just did a bought deal for $6.85 per share for $76 million. That combined with all of the IPO warrants exercises that came in at $7 created enough capital that basically offset that entire investment from them. So we effectively had much less dilution for the same amount of capital. Yeah. So for us, we kind of see it as a win-win-win sort of all around. Yeah. And they're still our partners. So they only sold 10% of their position. They still own 90%. They still own 50+ million shares and warrants of us. They've helped us tremendously all the way through. So
no, it's fantastic. And it's funny how people say, like, even when they look at directors and they sell some stock, everyone freaks out. I'm like, no, that's That's why they had options, because they were working to increase the value of the company so they can be rewarded for that's why it's called an incentive.
Exactly.
So I've never, it's a lot different when you're getting rid of 10%, 15% of something. Like you said, it's prudent in your own portfolios. I hope people are doing that who are listening. Sell a little bit as it's going up, but it's a lot different than if someone said, you know what, I'm liquidating. That's when I start looking like, okay, why the liquidating? You got to figure out why. But
that's a bit of a different story.
But when it's very prudent. So I've always had a beef against why people freak out about that kind of stuff. Just me personally. Yeah,
fair enough. I've been working 7 days a week, 15 hours a day for 2+ years on TGOD.
Yeah.
So we've all been, working just around the clock, nonstop, trying to make this happen. I even lived on the farm for almost a year with 7 other people in the beginning of when we started the company. Really? 7 of us lived on the farmhouse where we were producing beside it. We had a house beside it that we actually lived there for almost a year when we were getting the company started. And the amount of time, effort, and personal money that we've all put into it, we of course. We want to make money too, right? So that's the name of the game. So I don't think insider sales are kind of just part of the game. And then the other thing is, it's only going to be 10 or 15% of any one insider's position. So
we actually try to really, really hammer that down to our investors when you see something like that and you see someone selling. Remember the biggest one. Was it Bruce or someone? They sold this massive, and everyone, or maybe it was even with Roar, and they freaking out and everything, but then they realized that they actually sold their own personal stock to help their company.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so did you overreact before? Yes. So I've never understood that. I love the fact of seeing, whether it be directors, people who work with the company, I like being able to see that they put all that time and effort in, and yes, of course they're going to take some of that out. Wouldn't you, if you have your own investments and it's your own shares, you take some out after that. It's part of it. So
fair enough.
If you ever do see this guy selling some shares, better not be angry. It's well deserved.
Thank you.
So I always want to make sure I say that because I've never understood that mentality. But no, it's really, really interesting to see what you and your team have been doing. It's funny because it's just starting. As crazy as it is, it's just starting. We're at the very beginning of a race. We look forward to having you back on the show in the near future to continue watching how you're progressing.
Perfect. I'm happy to come anytime. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
It's been a pleasure. And we're...
Come on.
Back.
He's
I finally had him back. So we found someone, folks. But he's only here for like 2 minutes because we need to go back and do the videos. But the reason why is because, can you speak?
I'm back and this chair sucks, man. I hate this chair.
You need a hot toddy, some lemon water.
Yeah.
And a new chair.
Hey, good show today, guys. It's really good.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was just hanging out in our chat room.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the reason we brought you on and made you suffer being able to talk is because the next clip we're throwing to, which we're doing very quickly, Jason Spadafora, you reached out to him, Wolf of Weed Street.
Big name to get, brother.
And it was interesting. It was a really big conversation.
Yeah. It was very chilled.
He knows his shit.
One at a time.
Huh? What? Keep talking. Why? Who?
Yeah. So we're doing Sunday Night Lives at our Facebook page, Facebook group, and I thought, you know what, they would be a great. It fits. Like I've had some conversations with him now. We've talked on the phone, and there's definitely some similarities there. And I just thought, what Sunday Night Live is supposed to be about, the feel that I wanted to have, he would be, a great guest. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to him, and sure enough, he was just like, yeah, sure. And he was super professional, even leading into the, going into the weekend, class act, honestly. Yep. When it comes to, what he does. And he's really good at what he does.
He doesn't bullshit either.
Yeah, and go ahead.
And that was aired live, so you can ask questions to our guests. At Follow the Money Investor Group is our private group, but this one went from our public group, FTMIG Live. The Facebook page is where we went that from, and
there's a lot of value.
1,800 comments.
Yeah, it's you're getting the wolf on there. You're going to get bigger viewership, and we definitely saw that. It was a record for us. And funny enough, there's all sorts of chat rooms. Everybody's got chat rooms these days, and I got a screenshot from someone. Someone was saying, "Oh, I didn't see any value in that interview," and I was shook my head. I'm like, "Fuck, you talking about?" Like you're gonna see when we air this here, it's basically just him talking.
Mm-hmm.
I was having mic issues. Funny enough, today I have voice issues. But there's a lot of value. I mean, if you don't find value in what he's saying, you're out to lunch. I remember driving through the U.S. in the summertime 2 summers ago, listening to a podcast that Jason was on, and he was talking about the season of the sector of cannabis and when there's big volumes and when those valuations run. And it really helped me as a speculator. There was lots of things from those podcasts stuck with me, but that was one that, you know, when I was getting a little nervous, I was like, no, we're in the good part of this thing, right? So, yeah.
Without further ado, why don't we roll to breaking down 2.5 hours into 12 minutes and 30 seconds, and we'll play that now.
Well, I guess it started like, you know, any good idea starts if you ask your wife. Around the 3rd of January, I got high at my house while my wife was with her friends, and I saw a trailer for Wolf of Wall Street, and I was like, Wolf of Weed Street, that's a funny name. I was like, I bet somebody has it on Twitter already. And I checked, and nobody did, and which, you know, everybody was like, oh, well, you're killing it. And I was like, 30% is killing it? You know, I was like, I've been doing this for like 6 months. This sucks. 2 days later, it goes up 50%. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is amazing. Yeah. I was like, pot stocks, these things are awesome. And then 2 days after that, the thing tanked. And I was like, what the fuck happened? Yeah. So it was like 10,000% gain, 1,000% gain. I'm pretty sure I coined the term unicorn on Twitter. But yeah, it was just kind of crazy. So basically from like January 1st to April 1st, my portfolio did 6,300%. And that's something that people don't really understand or don't appreciate enough is by not investing in some of these companies, you'll end up making more money and saving money because it's all about preservation of capital and growing your portfolio. And trust me, no lesson, you'll never learn any a better lesson than losing money. Right? You need to be smart about your money and realize at the end of the day, none of us can fight the market. We don't, you know, I don't have enough money to do it. You don't have enough money. All of us together don't have enough money to, you know, unless of course we had some kind of super continuity, which we don't. You know, I would say if you look at the companies that are in like the ETF portfolios, those are safer bets to run. And I think, look, a lot of the shit companies are going to run just because they piggyback and because they're spending tons of money on promo. But at the end of the day, those things are going to get clubbed like baby seals, and that money flow is going to go to the Canopies, Auroras, the Afrias, the Hexos, the Organograms, because they're established companies. Because any company that's trying to get a license right now or has been trying to get one for 2 years isn't going to be able to compete with a Canopy or an Aurora, etc. When the price per gram starts dropping or gets manipulated, just like we see in the United States, like on a state-by-state basis, you know. So that's why you see Canopy, Aurora, etc., all planting flags internationally, because there's the blue sky for them. You know, it's not 100% legal. That's why they're, you know, getting set up for beverages. That's why they're, you know, testing stuff in pharma. You know, that's the real blue sky. So the Canadian markets, you know, in 2014, it was the U.S. markets that supported the Canadian markets. And after 2016 midterm elections, it was the Canadian companies that supported the U.S. market. I don't look at any of these companies as any sports team. I look at them as just numbers on a screen. I don't fucking marry them. I don't, you know, like, I date them. I don't fucking take them to dinner. And if something looks off, I'm dropping them. If you're gonna set a stop, here's a real easy tip. Don't set it on like $7. Put it at like $6.95. Yeah. You know, check to see where the resistance is and the support.
Yeah, a little will help you.
Put it a little below. You know, like 10 cents isn't gonna kill you, but a lot of people are like, you know, they look at it and it's a psychological thing. They're like, oh, I'm going to put it at $7 if like the thing's at $9, and they just whack it down, those stops, and then the thing rips.
That's right. So some people want to know, do you think there's any really good American plays on the OTC?
A couple. Kush bottles,
Yeah.
KSHB. I like MJ&E. I'm a shareholder. They're out of Nevada. And really, that's all that comes to mind. The thing that attracted me about TGOD was their cost for energy. So their cost for energy, to give you kind of an idea, if people don't know this, that if you've got to grow, especially an indoor grow, 50% of your burn rate per month, that's the money that you're spending as a company to just kind of produce that revenue, is going to be spent on power. So right off the bat, 50% of your cost is power. In Ontario, which has I'm sure you know, the highest power rates in Canada,
yep.
which is where pretty much everybody is.
And Quebec is the cheapest, right?
Yep. So they're paying 12.1 cents a kilowatt hour. Everybody else, TGOD's paying 4 cents a kilowatt hour. And they have a product, there's a reason Aurora has that offtake agreement with them, because when Aurora started, they were trying to raise money, like they weren't a cannabis company. They were raising company money. And that's the same with Canopy. And, to get to this point, it took a lot, but they didn't have the money to, hey, we're going to grow organic. It's a higher upfront cost. TGOD just kind of saw, hey, this is the niche, and yes, it's going to cost us more, but look at this discount we can get on power. And if we do grow organic, there's a 30% higher margin, and it's premium cannabis. So now with a 30% higher margin and a 75% reduction to power,
yeah,
how do you compete? Even if TGOD at one point decides, hey, we want to scrap this whole organic model, it won't matter, because when the prices of cannabis compress in Canada, TGOD's going to have a 75%, lower rate to create that. And they're going to be able to beat people up on price and just steal market share. That's why a lot of these companies are going to get killed. Yeah, so just industrial hemp, that's really, it's going to dwarf the cannabis industry. Right. Because I think that's what's going to be the transition for a company, a tobacco company. It's not going to be for making marijuana cigarettes. Right. It's going to be for creating, shifting from tobacco to industrial hemp. And for the most part, a lot of them don't need to partner up with cannabis companies. Actually, none of them do. It's more of a fad. If they are looking at, like the Marlboro, like marijuana cigarettes. Like, have you seen like the packages, like for weed cigarettes that are like Marlboro?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that shit's real.
Right.
And I know that's real because my partner's grandfather is like, yeah, I've seen the test packaging for marijuana cigarettes.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, all the tobacco is pretty much the same. It's just what box you put it in, and then what stamp and where you're exporting it to, or whatever. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense for industrial hemp because of the way that it grows, and because, look, tobacco farmers are getting just killed every year. It gets more and more expensive, but they also see, like, okay, people that smoke weed smoke cigarettes, and we want to just grab as many of them as possible.
Right.
So while they don't need to take on any of these companies, and I think some of these companies, like the brands that they've established, look, if I had to pick a tobacco company to buy into any LP, it would be Afria. Because my feeling is Afria just doesn't give a fuck. And they'll just do the deal. The whole fucking sector is going to rise. Even these shit companies that I hate are going to rise. So you know, like it won't really matter. So, you know, when it happens, everybody pull for it instead of talking shit about it. Like a bunch. Remember, look, the ETFs are rebalancing in December.
Okay.
So you really watch my tweets, because this has become the best trade, or, you know, you get 4 of these trades a year. So we're going to watch and see, you know, what they need to get rid of and what they need to take size in. So I'll just tell you what I do. And I've already started doing it. So I go on their website, like ETFMJ.com, and then there's Horizons. Those are the only ETFs that matter. So I'll go and I'll take a screenshot of their portfolio holdings from now till the end. And you want to focus on the shares, not the percentage, because the percentage right now doesn't really matter. They have to, you know, as we get into December, you're going to start seeing some of these positions go back up, especially because they've all gotten hammered, but on a percentage basis. So MJ, which is Alternative Harvest, has a 7% threshold. What that means is any security that they own, like if, let's say, they have 10% of Canopy, they've got to bring it down to 7%. All right. And then you can figure out what that looks like from a share, you know, like, you know, basically their share position. So, okay. So now you know they need to get rid of Canopy. Well, now you know they need to get rid of part of Tilray. They need to get rid of part of Aurora, and blah, blah, blah. And they can put a lot of pressure on the stock, especially if it's not as liquid. You know, Canopy, it doesn't really matter because I think trades like a beast.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, okay, well, then where should they put their money? So I did this. I wrote a piece on marijuana stocks about ETFs, and I talked about Aurora. That rebalancing, I think, is what got T-God to its all-time high in September. And Aurora, that's what made Aurora spike also. Gotcha. And a couple other companies. So that's a really good trade, and easy trade to not just make to go long on something, but to take profit on other positions.
So we've got our website, FTMIG.com. People can go there and sign up. It's also free. And I don't know how things go in the US, but over here we have a partner with an EMD. So the advantage over here to signing up to FTMIG.com, like, again, it's free, is you can get access to opportunities like, you know, seed investments and private placements. So, you know, Mr. Wolf, that's kind of what we focus on here in our private Facebook group.
Yeah, and 100% Canadians have a huge advantage over the United States just by the nature of the way you guys raise money.
Right.
So, you know, like, you know how hard it is for me to do a private placement? You know, like it's nuts. You got to go through this and go through that, where I'm like, I just want to fucking buy it. Like, you know.
When do you think the next big catalyst will be in the MJ space, i.e. like a Diageo deal publicly announced?
Yeah, like whenever they fucking put the PR out, that's when it'll be. I can't predict that. I'm not, you know, I'm not Biff from Back to the Future, getting the sports almanac. I wish.
And we're
back. Stop that.
Back. It's overplayed. Get it. Walk away from it. Yeah. Great interview.
It was really good, yeah.
That's just snippets.
Yep. We're going to fix the mic issues. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
It's a great mic, but you need software behind it.
Gotta finish your internal mic first and then your external mic afterwards.
So, I mean, listen. Go check out his site, marijuanastocks.com. You got FTMIG.com. You can sign up, get private placements, or sift through them.
Absolutely. MidasLetter.com. We're giving you guys a plethora of information here.
Great content. I mean, from all those that we just mentioned, there's fantastic content.
Yep. Absolutely. In all different ways, all different formats. That's what we're trying to do. Just bring as much information as possible for people to make the best decisions that they can with their money. But no, he was great coming on. He get 2.5 hours. I didn't think it was going to be that long. So, Jason, if you're watching, thank you.
What's on your shirt, man?
You like that? These are little birds, my man.
Oh, they're like you got a bunch of seagulls.
Yeah. This way I can spill like dirt all over the shirt and you won't really notice. It's perfect. It's a camouflage.
Did you know that they were seagulls? Did you overlook that?
No, I knew they were seagulls. I looked at them. I'm like, I've been looking at for that since I was like 17 years old. Yeah.
Interesting.
I found it in Bruce's favorite store.
You're really trying to be the James West 2.0
I don't know if you can be a James West. I don't know if you could be another James West.
If we look back at when we first started to now and look at your shirts that you're wearing every day, I'm seeing a trend here.
You gotta go.
He's more.
You gotta look when you see some nice shirts in winters. You gotta be like, you know what? Take my money.
I like my roots wool here.
Looks very comfy. It looks so warm.
On a day like today when I'm a little under the weather.
Yeah, no worries.
We got to throw to an interview, right?
We do. Margot McAuliffe, she was the CEO of Gabriella's Kitchen. It's a wellness CBD products and different types of foods in the United States, but also does THC as well. We'll turn it over to her and let her describe her company. And we're here today with Margot McAuliffe, co-founder and CEO of Gabriella's Kitchen. Thank you for coming on the show today. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
So for those who are unfamiliar with your company, what is it that you do and where do you operate?
We are a cannabis wellness company. We operate all throughout Canada and the United States. We have 2 different channels that we sell into. We sell into the mainstream channel, which would include stores like Whole Foods, Sprouts, Bristol Farms, Albertsons, Safeway, Loblaws, Sobeys in Canada. And in that channel, we are all throughout the United States and Canada. We also sell into the licensed cannabis channel. And right now we're only in California, expanding very rapidly into Oregon, Colorado, Nevada, and Washington.
Very nice. And I believe you do sell THC products, but is your main focus CBD or non-THC confused superfoods? Is that your main focus for your business?
You know, I wouldn't say it's our main focus. I believe that ultimately the mainstream channel will be the more important channel in the whole cannabis wellness strategy. And I think that because I think consumers want access to products that are beneficial for them in a ubiquitous fashion. So they're going to want to access cannabis-infused products as well as superfoods and other healthy products in the mainstream channel. I think ultimately THC products will be sold in the licensed channel. It won't happen right away, but just like we see pharmaceuticals and alcohol sold in mainstream, eventually I think everything will be sold in mainstream.
Yeah, it's fair to say. And it's funny because we're still figuring this out, whether it be in the United States where there's been, like California, you said, a bunch of legal states that have been legal for some time now, Washington, Colorado. And now in Canada, as of just a few weeks ago, legalizing the entire thing. But it's still in such an infancy stage where we don't really know where our governments are to go with this, consumer trends and those different things. It'll be interesting to see how that all comes together. But specifically for yourself, what products are you currently selling at the moment? Like as these superfoods, are they shakes or the actual foods? Or can you describe your products a little bit?
Sure. No, they're actual food products that people would consume on a daily basis, share with their family and friends, or eat by themselves. On our mainstream side, our products include sauces, pastas, prepared meals, things that you would incorporate into your lunch or dinner menu. On the licensed side, our products include, at present, a line of flavored olive oils, which are CBD infused or CBD and THC infused. And that would include extra virgin olive oil, a truffle oil, garlic oil, etc.
Yeah, it's very interesting actually, because having that CBD infusion, you get a lot of cannabinoids from it, and there's a lot of different research out there that's showing, obviously we know that we have an endocannabinoid system in our bodies, and it's showing that a high intake of different types of cannabinoids is actually very healthy for you. So it's interesting to see that you're getting it right into products that a lot of people who hear about cannabis probably would never think about, like you just said, oils and pastas and those types of things.
Well, I think what's happened is that when legalization first occurred, the consumers that moved into the market were the consumers that were looking for the euphoria or the intoxicating effect of cannabis. I think over the last 5 years, what's happened is that the mainstream consumer has come to realize the healthful properties associated with cannabis, and they want access to it for the wellness benefits, not for the psychoactivity. So what that means is that people want to consume it on a regular basis in ways that is comfortable for them. Most people don't want to smoke it. They don't want to vape it. You know, you can use it as a supplement, you can use it as a tincture, but just like consumers use other wellness products in a variety of different ways, we want to meet the consumer wherever, however, and whenever they want to consume cannabis or cannabis wellness infused products.
Yeah, and that's well said as well, because I do believe that a lot of people who think about cannabis, you know, they always think about smoking, and there's a lot of individuals out there, just because it's legal now, does not mean they're going to start smoking it. I think these other alternative methods of consuming cannabis, whether it's for medical purposes, recreational purposes, or just health purposes, I think you're right. It's going to go to different edibles. It's going to go to different areas where you don't have to actually smoke something.
Exactly. We're seeing that already. We're seeing that flower as a product in and of itself is actually reducing in sales, and we're seeing that edibles are growing dramatically in sales. You know, there's also topicals and, you know, health and beauty products, and consumers are flocking to those. It's often the entry when consumers are interested in a cannabis product. Oftentimes the way they get into it is through a topical because it's less frightening for them. And that's really what we're trying to balance right now is, you know, we know there's a demand, we know there's an interest. What we're trying to make sure is that consumers trust us, trust our brand, know that we're giving them the control and the power to consume whenever, wherever, and however they want to consume. And also, very importantly, that they can control the dosage. I think there's a lot of fear around, you know, the intoxicating effect, and a lot of people don't know what their dosage level is yet. So we want to put that in the hands of consumers.
No, and that's rightfully so. When it comes to finishing out the year, finishing out 2018 and moving into 2019, what do you think are the catalysts for your company? What are you excited about, and what can shareholders be excited about?
You know, what we're really excited about is we've got two major differentiators in our company. We have science and we have infrastructure. And a lot of companies on the market don't have both, and some don't have either. So what I mean by that is when I say we have infrastructure, on the mainstream side, we've got relationships with over 3,400 retailers in North America. We have relationships with the top 3 distributors in North America. We have relationships with a national brokerage and sales team. So it's easier for us to get products, new products and emerging products into the mainstream channel than it would be for other companies just launching. We also have infrastructure on the license channel. We own our manufacturing facility. We own a Class 6 license to manufacture cannabis-infused products in California. We also own our distribution company, and we have salespeople positioned all across the state of California. So we've got infrastructure that we can launch our products quickly and efficiently into both the mainstream market and in the licensed channel. A lot of companies don't have that. We can use that to leverage ourselves and to leverage brands that we acquire so that they can get into market in a much more expeditious way. We also have our finger on the pulse. We know what consumers are looking for as a result of that kind of infrastructure. And then we also have science. You know, when I decided that we wanted to get into cannabis-infused products as a strategy for our wellness company, I sought out science, and I found Mara Gordon. And if you look up Mara Gordon on the internet, you'll be as impressed as I was when I first learned about her. Mara came to cannabis for her own personal needs, and she was so astounded by the effect it had on her health and wellness that she decided to devote herself to making sure that the plant was available to anyone who needed it, and also to study it. And she amassed a database over the last 10 years that rivals anyone's out there. And we've got her backing and her formulations and her experience in our products. So we have science and infrastructure, two really powerful differentiators. So we're very excited about that, and excited with what we can do with that, not just for ourselves in products that we develop, but in in companies that we acquire, and being able to scale them quickly and efficiently.
Hey, I appreciate for all the information. It really does sound like you've been able to really focus on building a vertically integrated company where right from the very beginning to the processing to the shipping. You're handling all those matters. So no, it's interesting. I appreciate your time for coming on here. A lot of our investors are always looking for new companies, or I know you've been on for a long time, but some of these American companies are now starting to be talked about in Canada, and rightfully so as well. But your stock information, just for anybody who's looking, you are on the CSE, I believe?
We are on the CSE. We've been listed just over a month now. Our trading symbol is GABY, G-A-B-Y. And we are also pursuing a listing in the U.S. On the OTC, and that should happen anytime now.
Well, glad to hear. Well, again, I appreciate your time very much. I look forward to speaking to you again in the future to see how everything is progressing. We'd love to have you back on in the coming months. And again, just let us know how everything's going.
I will do that, and I look forward to seeing you again. Absolutely. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And we're back.
Gabriella's Kitchen. There we go. There's someone commenting on the YouTube channel right now asking for a CBD stock. That company, a lot of their products are CBD. Ask and you shall receive. And you're wanting TRTC to do some big deal with the U.S. company. They just bought out Golden Leaf Holdings. Ask and you shall receive.
Well played.
So both of those questions are answered. We do look at these comments sometimes, try to get as many of them addressed as possible. You can't get comfortable, can you? We're sitting here. He's putting up his feet. He's getting ready. Oh. Yeah. Is this how we're going to end off the show?
What are you doing, man?
Whatever.
But it's packed. We've had a few people in there. Yeah.
What was your favorite?
I don't know. I can't believe you guys bumped my buddy Johnny Mac.
I know, Johnny. If you are watching, we always love having you on here.
Miss him.
No.
That was 5 interviews there.
Don't give him a pat on the back. You bumped him. And the people want more Johnny Mac. Yeah. I'm going to make a shirt that says more Johnny Mac. If we're going to actually talk about who bumped who.
All Johnny Mac matters.
But can't wait to have you back on. Love it. Love it. Pretty sure you're watching. One of the best. One of the best.
Stop it.
Well, what's going on in the markets, man?
Finishing off last few minutes. It's been the exact same the entire day. The only thing that's really moved is QCA. Actually, that's a lot for them. Queensland Capital.
Was moving.
1.2 million. No,
what's the S&P at right now?
1.2 million. S&P.
He's the only one with a laptop. He's
do everything here.
I almost did an accent there.
Oh, what were you gonna do? Go ahead.
No,
don't be shy.
I'm shy.
I'm shy. So actually, it's a pretty good day. The MJ Fund, Alternative Harvest, that's a good indicator in the United States. That's up 2.42% for cannabis, that is. The Dow is up 1.88%. S&P 500 is up 1.9. It just changed this.
So what do you think? Are we ready to rip into...
NASDAQ up 2.35%.
Ready to rip into Christmas here?
I just need another week. So.
Got the wind behind our backs.
Just another week.
Was that enough rinse, wash, repeat? Are we now repeating?
I don't know. I'm going to go home and try some Matica spray.
Matica spray, yeah. It smelled pretty good.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
it shows that they're not just looking to grow pot.
Yeah. I've always been interested in, really interested in Unify. When we met Stefan and their team.
Yeah, you were talking about the creams.
The creams,
right?
yeah.
You know what? Someone needs to tell their story, because from what we went and saw and the people that we met,
we get them on the show.
We should
get
a little Skype going with
them. We have 2 minutes. You come on Skype.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, the lady behind a lot of, so I don't know if Stefan and them are, but I can't recall her name specifically, but she had been working in cosmetics for like 30 years. She sits on the board in Quebec for cosmetics, making sure that they're healthy and they can actually pass. There's some bright minds behind it, so I'm interested. Not just
you're a Matica pumper.
How? Because I like Unify.
Just pumping Matica, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely pumping that spray, but every single time it pumps, more comes out.
Whatever. Guy's got a bunch of birds on his shirt. Yeah. What were you saying? All these
seagulls, actually.
So
seagulls.
all the
be specific.
They just shit everywhere.
No, that's down here, actually.
So all the professional athletes now are just wearing loud shirts, or what were you saying?
Correct.
Break.
Huge flowers all over the place. One guy had a dandelion on the side of his shirt. It's a basketball.
Was that like a basketball player?
He was basketball. He was pissed.
See, they're paid to do that, though.
Are they?
You, sir.
I'm paid to do this.
Supposed to do that.
I get all but 0 cents to come on here and give my time.
You know, the NBA All-Star Game is funny. I love watching all those guys, how they dress up. They go all out.
Yeah.
You see
like
them
Halloween.
and then when they do the dunk contest, they're always like,
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like after every dunk.
Everyone jumps up there. It's almost as crazy. You know what's even crazier though? a David Blaine on the streets.
One more.
When you get a David Blaine on the streets and you get a crowd of people watching, it's pretty funny sometimes. Go Google it.
So did you make money today or you lost money?
I haven't even looked. I've been doing this.
I made money. High five.
Yeah, Greg.
Greg always makes money. Oh, I love it. I love it. I haven't been trading much recently. I've been investing, but I don't have an open trade per se at this time, so I don't have to pay attention.
And you're moved downtown now. You live downtown.
I am living in downtown. Sherbourne.
Are you going to become a foodie?
Sorry?
Are you going to become a foodie and just go to all the small cool places to eat?
I find my 1 or 2 places I like to eat and get the same thing every time.
That's so boring. Yeah. I would never expect that from someone with that many birds.
I was about to say, well played.
It depends. I don't know. I'm not the biggest foodie. If there's some good shawarmas,
dude, you want shawarma? Come to Scarborough. You can't tell me that they have the best shawarma.
Peanut Nutso. If you're looking, Peanut Nutso.
Burlington does not have the best shawarma.
A Peanut Nutso is the best shawarma.
Where is it located?
Right. It's in the original's in Streetsville.
It is not possible.
Mississauga.
Dude, come on, man.
The place across from me
at
Sherbourne and Dundas, or Sherbourne and Gerard, I think it is. He's great as well. If I knew your name, I'd gotta find good shawarmas. That's one of the things in life.
Toronto has good food, but I'd say outside of Toronto, Scarborough has the best food.
Yeah. I feel like that's biased.
They have a pretty high crime rate too.
Scarborough.
But I mean, listen, you can go to just holes in the wall and the food is just amazing.
Yeah. That's like Hamilton.
Well, yeah, yeah.
The dirty hammy, yeah.
The dirty hammy. Yeah.
This is very unprofessional, Brandon.
I think we blew professionalism out about 3 minutes ago. Yeah. Well, thank you to all the people who were on the show today, all of the CEOs who came in. Always appreciate your time. Investors appreciate your time because they're finding out more about the company that they are either currently invested in or want to be invested in. So thank you for all of you who came on. Thanks for coming on and weathering
Sunday Night Lives.
The storm. Sunday Night
Go
Lives.
And like our page.
Yeah.
Like our FTMIG page, and then you'll get notified when we go live.
We're doing a live actually tonight.
You just cut me off.
I did. We're doing a live tonight. with Metallic Group Minerals because they have a private placement that's going on right now, and we're talking to the 2 CEOs of their 2 different companies, Metallic Minerals and Group 10 Metals. That's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern Time on our private Follow the Money Investor Group. We're going to be talking about
what does that mean,
for that.
That means that you have to be in the Facebook group.
Be in the Facebook group, correct.
And what are the benefits of being in the Facebook group?
You get to come on this Facebook Live and talk to Greg Johnson and Michael Rowley.
I almost did my accent again.
Did you? Well, I think I can hear them in the back saying we need to reset the machine and get ready for Sir Ed and Sir James.
Sir makes a lot.
We'll see you next week.
Take care.